tell me what's been bothering you.
You know, I don't like being outdoors.
Tell me you left the house in 3 days.
1, 2, 3.
Have you eaten anything in 3 days? Besides canned tuna?
Anything else?
Dirt. Obviously, I have a lot of ticks.
These distractions affected your work of late? What would you do if you had to change careers?
What, if I wasn't an antiques broker?
If you weren't a criminal?
I'm Agent Kellaway. This is Agent Cole. We're from the Federal Trade Commission. You've been the victim of fraud. Do you have any more of those L-47s?
Oh, yeah, maybe in the car. Oh, wait a second. Oh, here we go. This is Dr. Klein. Just got off the phone with Angela, your daughter. She says she really wants to meet you.
Remember me?
All of a sudden, I have a daughter.
Someone in here!
Hallelujah, you got a chick in here?
It's a riot, huh? Little training bras hanging on the shower rods.
That's no way for a young lady to behave, and shame on you!
Just try to be as honest and open with them as possible.
Right?
You're a con man?
Con artist.
Wow.
Film plan man, matchstick man, take your pick.
And that guy Frank?
He's my partner.
Teach me something.
Rule number 1, never work near where you live.
Don't.
Rule number 2, don't write anything down.
You regret it? Exposing her to that?
Well, you know, it was a little, it made me feel a little, I really liked it. How much you think we can take that guy for?
30 grand.
More.
500,000? A million? Come on, I'm 21!
This 14-year-old girl working these people with me.
My dad screwed up Frank!
I'm not very good at being a dad. I barely get by being me. You good to go?
Is a popo in the woods?
Just say yes, okay? There's one last thing.
What?
I want you to give the money back.
This is so... You think pride doesn't pay?
No, it does. It does, just not very well.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back with more Sam Rockwell month. We're still going. I don't know how many this is now, if it's like 9 or 10 maybe that we've done. But we're talking about 2003's Matchstick Men. It came out pretty close after Confessions of a Dangerous Mind the next year. So yeah, I was trying to think about, yeah, I mean, this is that time period for Sam that, like, in 2005, the one we're going to do next, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he had this, like, really good chunky years, man, like from when he was doing Green Mile to, like, Hitchhikers. He had a run of just good movies all the time. And tonight we're talking about one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies that he happens to be in. And that's one of the great things about this Sam Rockwell month, is doing all of Sam's movies. He's in so many good ones that I get to review some really good movies for this month that maybe it just, I don't know when I'd ever get to review them. And we're talking about this, and look, we get good Nicolas Cage for a change in this movie. It's directed by Ridley Scott, this is definitely a departure for him kind of film. And it's also one of my favorite kinds of films. Cons, heists, robberies. I don't know what it is about them, especially con movies. I just really, really love them. And this movie, when it came out, blew me away. I loved every second of it. Now, it's been just shy of 16 years since this came out in like September of 2003. And so, like, full spoilers if you have not seen this movie, because we're going to talk about this movie. This is a movie that if you haven't seen it, go see it, and then we'll come back here and talk about it, because I am not going to sugarcoat it for people that haven't seen it yet. So, but suffice to say, if you like con movies, if you like good Nicolas Cage, even bad Nicolas Cage, it's okay sometimes. And if you like Sam Rockwell and good con movies, this is right up your alley. So anyway, full spoilers in this, because it has to be talked about, because the ending of it is one of the most, like, it comes like out of nowhere. And watching it now, knowing what's going to happen, I just want to get right to it. So it's just the fact that he, like, this whole thing is, he doesn't like himself. He doesn't like what he does, and he thinks that he's got basically OCD, he's got all sorts of these tics and kind of like Tourette's and things like that. And so the trailer sells you on all that. And in most of this movie sells you on his phobias being like just this major kind of, hindrance in his life that, he almost feel like, is this the reason why he went to crime? Because he's just kind of can't really do anything else. And the way that it all affects him, it feels real. And I like the way that they sell that to you as an audience member, is you really feel like he's really messed up. But it's funny too that it never occurs to him that, hey, you know what, maybe you feel bad, like all this happens when you're doing bad things, and maybe it started when you and got worse as you kept doing it. Now I don't know about all this, they really make you think he's mentally, ill in a way, like with serious tics throughout the whole thing. And so, they're not making light of people that actually have these kind of problems, but in a way it's like the movie's conning us too. Like the character is unintentionally conning us, but the people who wrote it did, you know what I mean? And so he plays Roy Holler, and Sam Rockwell plays Frank Mercer. There are a couple of guys who run a kind of small time but like safe con jobs on people where they take money from the greedy and the weak, is what he says. It's really funny though that like you can kind of see the contradictions in his character when he says things like that, but how he is in real life. And it's just kind of bizarre to me that a guy that, like sometimes he's perfectly fine, like he smokes. If he's so afraid of like the outside and germs and things, it's just weird that he smokes. Sam Rockwell's character, knowing what you know now, that he's conning Nicolas Cage the whole time, I really love watching it now, trying to see the subtleties of like little hints that you could look at along the way that he is kind of in on it, or, that this is really a con on him. And there's a lot more I can see now all these years later of everything that I should have seen way back then. Alison Lohman, who's in this, she kind of did a bunch of movies too in this time period and then just kind of disappeared. She did this and Big Fish and Drag Me to Hell and the one with Kevin Bacon and guy from Kingsman, Colin Firth. Yeah. So she did like a bunch of movies and then she just kind of disappeared. The last thing I saw her credited for was something in 2016. So, but she's a pretty good actress, and it's a shame that you don't see that much of her anymore. But again, since this is Sam Rockwell month, we might as well talk about how Sam is in this movie. I mean, he's kind of like a homage of all his characters in a way. With the way he dresses is kind of like Chuck Barris and a little bit guy from Charlie's Angels, but he's smooth, kind of like, well, he hasn't been Justin Hammer yet, but just I don't know. I really like him in this because he has to play it like that he's not conning him. But like after watching it now, it's like everything he does is purposely antagonizing him and making it worse. Like, and every character in this, now that you know what you know after seeing it, that they all pulled this job on him, like they were really trying to razz him up to like the breaking point through this whole thing, and how all this was just to get his information and let his guard down and make him feel like this was the way that he opens up. And when they give him a daughter, oh my God, I mean, like knowing later on, she did such a good job that I kind of call bullshit, because at the end of the movie, she's like, oh, that was just a one-time thing. And okay, it's like maybe they just happened to find somebody who's an incredible actress. Incredible. Because her performance makes you believe that she really is his daughter, that she is totally genuine, she is totally on the up and up. And just to be like, oh, that was just a one-time thing, I'm not really a comment. It's like, no, fucking, you are. So I kind of wanted to call bullshit, because if she doesn't really know what she's doing, how would she be that good of an actress? Because when she was around her boyfriend, I mean, she didn't seem like that good at covering things up. Because even he did. Fran Kranz was the boyfriend, the guy from Cabin in the Woods and Dollhouse. even he noticed there was something going on at the end of this movie between the two of them. So she's not good at being that subtle. Another person that's in this, there's a bunch of people I really like in this. Sheila Kelly, who is in one of my favorite movies called Singles. Again, another person that just I don't see very often. Melora Walters plays Nicolas Cage's ex-wife. She's from Boogie Nights. Again, people that just don't get used that often. Bruce Altman, I love Bruce Altman. If you remember him from season 2 of The Sopranos, he was really great. He's so great in this. And then you got Bruce McGill. Oh my God, Bruce McGill is one of the greatest character actors of the last 30, 40 years, man. And he's one of those guys that I'm ashamed to say I looked up to see if he was still alive, because I don't remember the last time I saw him in anything. Because when he was around, like, he was so big in like the late 80s and all through the 90s and 2000s, man. He was everywhere, man. And just always so like, I don't know. For a character actor, he really just gives you like a lot. And that's this movie's strong point after all these years, is the acting. Because now that I've seen, like, I can see this movie coming a mile away, it doesn't have that much of a rewatchability unless you're really interested in character pieces, which this is, because this really becomes like, at the end of this movie, Nicolas Cage gets taken for everything he's worked for, but really finds a better life because it's all gone. It's almost like he was never going to stop, because it was part of his own like mental issue about it. Is he would just keep saving money and never really do anything about it. And by conning him, by taking everything, in a way, Sam Rockwell's character freed him and allowed him to stop what he was doing and do something else. And even though they were doing it for crappy gains, like to rip him off, in the end, the ripping him off was the best thing for him. And he was able to, he ends up with the lady from the grocery store, and he's selling carpet. And while that is like, for some of us, that's like Ray Liotta at the end of Goodfellas, like hiding out in the suburbs like a schnook. That's how I would look at it, like, oh my God. But he's living a life that he's proud of, and he's got a kid on the way. And did anybody else notice those big fucking Ben & Jerry's containers that they had in this movie? Where are those? Where have they been all my life? I know this was 2003. Okay, so 16 years ago, they had giant tubs of Ben & Jerry's. Is this a thing? Somebody tell me where I can buy those, because I can't find those fucking things. And I've not seen them in a grocery store within a wide radius around me. I'd say, 20-mile radius. Okay, let's say 20 miles. Yeah, I became obsessed with the Ben & Jerry tubs. I was like, holy fucking shit, I need that now. A whole bucket of New York holy shit. The music in this was all really great. From the score, because it was really playful score, I loved it. And then there was just all the like kind of Frank Sinatra type songs, that kind of jazzy, scammy songs. That's a new phrase. What else do we have to talk about in this that was just, no. The one thing I do want to talk about, I guess, is Nicolas Cage. Because anybody that understands Nicolas Cage, you got two sides of him. The one that's like, that lost all his money and is now doing like anything that comes across the board. And the Nicolas Cage that when he's in a good movie can give you some great fucking performances. Like Mandy from last year was so goddamn unexpected and great. But when he's been good, like Raising Arizona and Leaving Las Vegas, and I happen to like Trapped in Paradise. I don't know why it gets so much hate. It's such a harmless, fun movie with Dana Carvey. But, other things that he's done, not so much. Or Face Off. Okay, he was fantastic in Face Off. In Con Air, I guess. I'm going to start just listing off movies now. But this is good Nicolas Cage, and he really sells the whole ticks and the woo and everything, and just I could never see anybody else in this movie but him. So it's a testament to his acting. And again, I was hoping that Sam had a lot more to do in this, but he really is kind of by the numbers. This is really not his movie. He gets to be a peacock when he is in this movie, but this is really Nicolas Cage and Alison Lohman's movie. And everybody else is just kind of pieces moving around without realizing that Nicolas Cage is the only piece really moving. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I've got so much left to do. I've got Toy Story 4 still to review and Handmaid's Tale review. Like the Handmaid's Tale's 6th episode comes out in about an hour and 20 minutes. And so I got that to do too. So I'm not trying to rush through this, but I feel kind of bad. But maybe I'm conning you. I don't know. But definitely check this movie out, even if you haven't seen it. Like, or if you have seen it, see it again. If you've gotten this far and you haven't seen this movie, I've ruined it for you. But again, even if you now have it spoiled, watch this movie and see how, and try to watch it from Nicolas Cage's point of view, and realize how the ending of this really comes out of nowhere. Even though that hospital room that he was in, that was one of the worst looking hospital rooms. I know he took a bump on the head, but he'd be looking around for doesn't normal people look like, where's the bathroom? Where's the TV? All this stuff. I don't know. The story just, is written that way. But it was cool, the reveal of him being on top of the fucking parking garage. But anyway, if you liked this review, please hit the like button. Comment, share, subscribe. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. It really would help me out, and it costs you nothing. But anyway, this is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews. We are going to leave you now. We'll be back with more Sam Rockwell month with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in a couple of days probably. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews, and I'm going to leave you with one last thing to think about.
Hi. I'll be right with you, sir. Hi, I need a refill of this. I don't have a prescription. Sir, please wait your turn. I know, but this is an emergency.
Hey, buddy, ever heard of a line?
Hey, have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and being pissed?